All Century 21 real estate offices are independently owned and operated.
This is the Real Estate Roundtable with Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate. Good morning. I'm Jackie Ruddy, broker, and with Pat Devaney, my husband, fellow realtor.
Good morning, Jackie. How are you today?
I'm very good. Thank you so much for asking.
My friend Billy laughs at this all the time.
Yeah, and your sister.
Yeah, my sister too.
Yeah, they get a kick out of it, like we haven't seen each other before this very moment. I'm doing very good. Thank you so much for asking. For the second week in a row, we have with us Mark Cooper, chef extraordinaire. That's my title, but you're really the executive chef at Cooper's Seafood House. Hello.
Yes. Hello. Good morning.
Thanks for coming back.
Thank you.
We're here every Saturday at 11 a.m., Sunday at 11:30 a.m., where we talk real estate. We have a full-time experienced real estate office with many relentless realtors guiding, assisting, and advising clients in real estate matters for 50 years.
Wow, 50 years. That's a long time. Yeah, during the week, feel free to email us with any questions you have at questions@jruddy.com. That's questions@jruddy.com. Or you can give us a call at 570-344-6724. And when you go to jruddy.com, click on the webcam tab just to see what's going on at Dunmore Corners. We have in the wintertime, we get hits. And I have a map I can look and see, and we get hits from all over the world on that camera. It's really
cool.
All over the world. It's amazing.
Yeah, some of the things that you see on that camera at certain times, we've seen people getting dressed in the bank parking lot, undressed to dressed.
Yes, it was a guy standing in front of the camera, got out of the car, and he was changing his clothes. I was like,
we've seen cars go ricochet right into
the Fidelity Bank, right into the front door. Right?
Yes, at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Other various accidents.
Yes. So it could be interesting, very interesting. Mm-hmm. Okay. Check us out on social media, and when you're at jruddy.com, mobile-friendly, jruddy.com, you can go to the radio tab and check out all the popular podcast apps that we offer our radio show on. And when you go there, follow, subscribe, and if you like us, give us a rating, please. I get a great idea every time I look at our stats, what people want to listen to. So
they want to listen to the original Real Estate Roundtable, not a cheap imitator.
A knockoff. Right. There are people that try.
That's right, but they're not even close. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
They could pretend, right?
Yes,
but no,
yes.
This is the one and only. I'm not going to say original. The one and only
Amen.
Real Estate Roundtable. Okay. Mark Cooper, Executive Chef, Cooper's Seafood House. Today, we'd like to continue our discussion. We're spending a lot of time in our kitchens. We've been spending a lot, even pre-pandemic days. A lot of us spent most of our time, at least we did at our household, spent a lot of time in the kitchen. And we want to cook a little bit more, not go out as much, be a little healthier. And the things that I've been reading about people and the pandemic, a lot of people are staying home and they are choosing to remodel their kitchen. And you don't need a state-of-the-art kitchen to do what we're talking about, but what's happening in the kitchen are these updates are occurring. People are still choosing white. That's the most popular cabinet, followed by wood, then by gray. Colors, though, bold colors are trending. And the one color that's trending the most, would you want to take a stab in the dark at this, Pat? What color is it?
Oh, I don't even want to guess. Blue?
My wife wanted to put blue in our kitchen, our kitchen.
It's not blue. It's green.
I was going to say green.
Yeah.
My favorite color.
Yeah, green.
Yeah, he's wearing green.
Yes, yeah, how about that?
Yeah, but you got to be careful with changing colors.
I was going to say that because it gets old really fast.
Because you walk into certain houses and you go, ooh, look, a 90s kitchen.
Well, I had an avocado refrigerator that was from the 70s.
Harvest Gold, Peacock Blue. So, but, people want more storage. They want bins for recycling items. And they want bigger islands. The islands is going to stay, but they want it bigger. And what's also happening in kitchens is they're separating. It's a part of the kitchen, but they're putting a separate place for like coffee bars or regular bars with liquor, and it's off to the side. But it's there, and it's just a separate place, and that's a neat concept too.
Well, what we did in our kitchen is we have a big kitchen. We have a lot of space. We have a big island. And we actually have a dining room table in the kitchen. because everybody sits around. My son does his he was doing his homework there. Jackie's got her laptop. I'll have my laptop. There's a TV there. There's a window and the triangle, the stove, the sink, and the refrigerator. It's all right there. So, but a lot of these older kitchens in a lot of these houses in this area, they're too small.
Oh, way too small.
So,
But all you really need to do what we're talking about is a stove, right? Okay. So let's talk about some of the whitefish that are out there. And, haddock has always been popular, and orange roughy.
Haddock, cod, orange roughy. There are a few other ones. Pollock is another one. They're all low fat. Any of those whitefish usually have low fat. Pollock has a little bit more than the others, which is why it's not actually doesn't hold up as long. It goes stale a little quicker because it has a little bit more oil. Any of those are great fish. It's what most people like because it has very, very mild flavor. It cooks very quickly. It's pretty easy to tell when it's done. It goes from being opaque to clear white. I would say to most people, and it'll take on whatever you want to do with it. One of our favorite things to do with any of those things is to take a piece of the cod or haddock or roughy or any one of those whitefish. You bake it or fry it or whatever you want to do with it. Cook it and then top it with we had a couple of different cheeses together, grate them up, add some dill weed to it, and then put it on top and melt it. And it's a cheesy dill topping. Not as healthy as as just having the fish, but it's absolutely fantastic. It's a great dish. The whitefish, again, I'm talking about soaked seafoods. There are, at times, I've seen some of the haddock and cod that comes in, and it kind of looks like it has a film on it, like a little sticky film. It's usually stuff that's been soaked. They buy this stuff up in Canada. It's a certain way they prepare it, and they sell it in these bags, and it's got a lot of sodium tripolyphosphate in it. They soak the stuff in to keep it fresh or keep it from spoiling, and then they'll bring it down and they'll market it. But it's the fish that it's not going to smell real good. So like I've said before, that thing in the middle of your face called your nose is a great indicator of things that are good and bad. If that fish doesn't smell right, I'm not going to eat it. And nor should you, That it doesn't smell fishy is just another term for something smelling bad because fish shouldn't smell fishy. It should smell like the ocean. It should smell fresh, but not bad. So that's, we kind of use that term to denote bad, something bad being fishy, but fish shouldn't smell bad.
Every time I get a plate of seafood, the first thing I do is I pick it up and I give it a sniff. We went to a place about a year or two ago and we got a white clam sauce, and I picked it up and I smelled it, and I went, whoa. Oh. And I sent it back. You know where we were. And I sent it back, and the girl was like, she all apologized. And I said to myself, I says, the guy in the kitchen should have picked this up because it smells like a sneaker or something.
Yeah, I've had that experience. I was Long Beach Island going deep sea fishing one time. I ate at a restaurant, and I had a piece of weakfish, and I should have known, but in those days, I think I'd had a couple of Manhattans beforehand. And I ate it anyway, and I wound up in the head on the boat the whole trip. It wasn't for being seasick, because I was never seasick.
Oh man!
Yeah, got it. I always do that. I always sniff the food.
Yeah.
What about tilapia?
Tilapia, not my favorite choice.
It's
unfortunately,
popular.
it's a great fish. It's It's probably one of the most farm raised fish in the entire world. It's farm raised everywhere. You can get it in South America. It's in a lot of the rivers and lakes down there. But although most of it is coming out of China, most of it's farm raised in China. And as I said before, I just don't trust stuff coming out of China.
Me neither.
There really isn't any good regulations on them. They don't have any standards. That could be loaded up with you have no idea what's in there. So I wouldn't trust it myself. There are producers. There are local farms. There was one down in Emmaus. I'm not sure if they're still in business, where you can buy fresh tilapia. You can buy fresh tilapia out of South America.
And that's all good.
That's all good. That's because it's raised in the wild.
Does Cooper serve it?
We actually don't have it on our menu. We have had it at times. We were getting it from Blue Mountain at the time, which is down near Emmaus. Like I said, and it's a great fish. But there's a farming technique they use because they are they'll eat pretty much anything.
Right, that's what I've heard. Yeah, that's why you don't want to.
Yeah, that's sort of like the hogs, Hogs get a lot of the stuff
Yeah.
that no one else wants, and it is what it is. But I really do, there's better choices.
Okay, now
okay, go
let me
ahead.
ask you something. Fish, right?
Yes.
Now, say I go to the store. How do I know where the fish is from? Is it's on the label, right? Isn't it supposed to be on the label? Product of Chile or product of?
Yes, yeah, it should say that.
It should say it.
It should say it. Yes. Actually, a lot of stuff is coming out of Vietnam.
I've seen that.
Yeah, and that's not bad. That's not bad. They've put some pretty good stuff out there. They sell a few things come out of Vietnam. There's crab meat. A lot of crab meat that comes up out of Southeast Asia, and it's actually blue crabs. Like we get down in the Chesapeake. Well, the reason they got there is because during World War II, when they had the Liberty ships and all, what they were built down the Chesapeake area, and what they used for ballast, of course, is water. They fill the basis of the hole, with water, and that water from the Chesapeake would have crab larvae or crabs in there. When they instead of bringing them back home, they scuttled most of them off the coast of Vietnam and Philippines, wherever in that area, and those little crabs found it much to their liking. So they did some DNA testing on it, because all of a sudden we're getting all this crab meat, this beautiful crab meat that's coming out of Vietnam, and they tested it they did DNA testing on it, and it's crabs from the Chesapeake. That's the DNA.
When we were kids, we would go down to the pier at Coney Island with a net and the crab trap, and we throw it in, and we go crabbing for the blue claws.
Oh, yeah.
And we had no use. You'd love this. We had no use for them, so we'd get on the subway and bring them back, and we used to just put them on the seats.
Well,
And
they're
there'd be
very
crabs.
aggressive.
Yeah.
Very aggressive. Yeah.
Little crabs going around. That's what you do when you're 13 years old.
Well, when I was a kid, we used to go down to Brielle with my Italian relatives from New Jersey. We would go crabbing. We'd have the traps, and it was great. But we would bring them back home and have a big feast.
No, we let them go on the subway. So.
Yeah, I was going to ask about crabs. That's interesting. And what about lobster?
Lobster right now, the price is going right through the roof. It's in great demand, and it's in low supply.
Like houses.
Like houses.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like the real estate
Just
market.
like the real estate market,
Yes.
yeah. Lobster meat has jumped, like it's taken like 5 jumps in the past 6 months.
Wow.
At least. What was once like $8 a pound is now $40 a pound.
Wow. And there's all different kinds of lobster, right?
Oh, good Lord, yes. There's when we think of lobster,
Maine.
generally think of a Maine lobster, which is the North American lobster. That is pretty much the same lobster that's on the other side of the Atlantic, over in France and all that. Pretty much the same lobster. That particular lobster is the North American lobster. The lobster tails that you find, like the Brazilians and South American tails, those are rock lobsters. That's a different lobster. It's more like a big crayfish. Doesn't really have claws, the big claws and all that. Most of the meat's in the tail. A New England lobster or a Maine lobster has less meat in the tail, a lot more meat in the body. Different taste entirely. I prefer the Maine lobsters. I like the taste of that New England. But then there's the cold water lobster tails, which are like South Africans, Australian, New Zealand tails. You would think that Africa, right, hot, and you're thinking, why is there cold water tail coming out of Africa? Because the water off the tip of Africa is basically Antarctic water. You go down below that, it's super cold water. So those tails of the rock lobsters are the best tasting of them. They have a different flavor to them. But as the world became more affluent, of course, the places that we're harvesting these things from, they wanted to eat them too. So there's less supply and more demand.
Okay. So we won't be eating lobster.
Well, lobster.
It's still great.
Patrick loves it, of course.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Well, and they bid on them, but they bid on futures. Like Brazilian lobster's tails are considered the best of the warm water tails. They bid on those on the futures, just like hog bellies, pork bellies, and stuff on the commodities market. It bid on the production for the year and what's going to happen. And when it comes up, they come in all at one time.
All right. So we were talking. Did we talk about different pots and pans in the kitchen? Did we talk about that yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. Let's talk about that.
Well, you don't need anything really fancy. My favorite things, if I had 3 pans, I would have a Dutch oven.
What is a Dutch oven?
Dutch oven? Yeah, thick walled pot, heavy bottom, with a top. It'll seal it in. So you can bake on top of the stove in a Dutch oven. You're putting the fire on low. You put a pile of stuff in there. cover it up and leave it simmer. And that because it's a thick bottom, it's not going to burn.
It's a metal pot. It could be metal. Could be
metal. I like cast iron. I love cast iron, but aluminum is good. They have stainless steel. Usually the cast iron pans are not good for acid-based foods if you're making spaghetti sauce or something like that.
Right.
You can still use it because in reality you're going to pick up some iron in there. It's actually good for the body.
But you were talking about the Dutch oven. What do you do in the Dutch oven?
Dutch oven, if I wanted to make anything where I'm going to make a casserole or I'm going to sear some fish and then maybe do a sauce around it, I'd sear it in there and then put the stuff on top and cover it.
Okay.
You can also bake bread in Dutch ovens. You can do anything. On a campfire, you can do that.
Okay. So we should experiment in the kitchen. That's what
Absolutely, yeah. Saute pans, I love Teflon pans are okay, but they scratch easy, and I'm not really a big fan of using Teflon. We wind up with Teflon in us everywhere. I like to use these new ceramic coated pans, the copper or ceramic. It's a copper and ceramic coated pans. You'll see them all. They're in Boscov's and you find them anywhere. I find that they're non-stick and they don't get hurt. You can actually scrub them off and all. But the main thing to do with these things too is to make sure your pan is hot before you do anything with it. You put anything on a coal pan, it's going to stick, or it's not going to sear the food. It's going to get greasy. You need to make sure it's hot before you put anything into it. Those are my favorite. Like I said, really don't need anything fancy. A cast iron pan for searing, for frying. That's my favorite. That's absolutely my favorite. I have a collection of cast iron pans, old
When I was cooking up at St. Mary's, I had these big cast iron pans, and I'd be doing the hamburgers up there. I'd have 3 or 4 of them going.
Oh, yeah. I do it every day. It's usually when we're doing catfish, we're blackening catfish. Big cast iron pans on the stove. You heat them up until they're white on the bottom, and then you proceed from there. You need a good exhaust.
You're a fan of cast iron. You put it on the grill. You put it on the grill.
And so I can get it really hot and it doesn't smoke up the house. I do it outside.
Right, absolutely, which is what I do at home.
When you blacken stuff, you use it.
I use the cast iron and I put it on the gas grill outside, turn it up, and I don't care how much smoke it makes because it's not coming in the house.
And the whole idea of blackening was what you're trying to recreate is cooking over an outdoor fire. So you're a Cajun guy. You're down in Louisiana and you got some fish or something and you're out. You're going to have a cast iron pan. Just everybody's got cast iron pans. On the fire, it's red hot, white hot. They take the stuff, they coat it with spices. Of course, they're famous for Cajun spice, Paul Prudhomme's, Cajun Magic or whatever. Coat it with the spice. Actually, what we do is we coat it with butter first. Dip it in butter, coat it with the spice on top of that. And then that white hot cast iron pan, no oil in it, you put it right on top of the white hot. What happens is it sears the flesh. It burns some of the seasoning. It gives it a different flavor, smoky. Turn it back over. It sears the other side in. So now you've locked in all the juices from that piece of fish or meat or whatever you're doing. And then what you do is turn the heat down. Put a pat of butter on top of it and let it simmer. It just sit there for a minute. And it cooks really quick, especially fish. Take it off on the pan. You're done.
But you make this sound so easy.
How come every time I talk to you, I get hungry?
I know.
But that's what you're doing. You're recreating cooking on an outdoor fire. That's what that's what you're doing. And you want to sear it in. I've seen people blackening things, and they do it. It drives me crazy. They'll put blackening seasoning on it. They throw it on a charbroiler or something. That's not really blackening. That's adding Cajun spice to something, but it's not. Blackening is a specific way to cook. It's searing. It's really hot, searing things off. And you're using that butter first and then the seasoning so you don't actually burn the meat. You're just searing it.
Searing it. All right. Mark Cooper, executive chef with Cooper's Seafood House. You can visit him and Cooper's Seafood House. They're located at 701 North Washington Avenue. We're headed towards a break. Before we go, I have some more profile of the home buyers in 2020, the characteristics of the home buyers last year. 62% of recent buyers were married couples, 19% were single females, 9% were single males. Once again, where the females beat the males.
And what is that? That's not 100%. Well, that's like this.
And
there's
and
like
9%.
missing. What are they?
And 9% were unmarried.
Oh, okay.
12% of home buyers purchased a multi-generational home, the same as in 2019, and that was to take care of aging parents because children over the age of 18 are moving back home as well, and for cost savings.
I thought you said car savings. I was going to say, yeah.
And car savings.
Yeah.
No more cars.
Yes, bigger garage. That's what we need, a bigger garage.
Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Real Estate Roundtable with Century 21, Jack Ruddy Real Estate on 94.3 FM. The Talker. Will be right back.
Who are Century 21 agents? They're high-tech gizmo packing problem solvers with an appetite for getting things done. They know the best places to buy a home, to sell a home, and to find antiques, if you're into that kind of thing. They're weatherproof, foolproof, and proof positive that smart people doing good work can make big things happen for great folks like you. Oh, and there's one nearby. This is who they are. This is what they do. Century 21 agents. Smarter, bolder, faster. Each office is independently owned and operated.
Hi, this is Jackie Ruddy from Century 21, Jack Ruddy Real Estate. Is real estate on your mind? It's on ours 24/7. Whether you're buying, selling, investing, or in need of an appraisal, you have questions, we have answers.
Thinking of buying or selling a house and have questions? Tune in to the Real Estate Roundtable hosted by locally owned and operated Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate on Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday mornings at 11:30.
Call 570-344-6724 or visit jruddy.com. That's JRUDDY.com. Welcome back to the Real Estate Roundtable with Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate on 94.3 FM The Talker. I'm Jackie Ruddy, broker, and with Pat Devaney, my husband, fellow realtor.
And we're back with Mark Cooper from Cooper's Seafood. And people are saying, what does Cooper's Seafood have to do with real estate? Well, doesn't everybody eat? Doesn't everybody eat and spend most of their time in the kitchen, right, Jackie?
Yes. Well, we do. I don't cook in the kitchen, but I spend a lot of time eating in the kitchen.
Yes, you do, and that's your workstation. There,
That's
too, in
my
the
little
kitchen.
workstation. Even though I have an office on the second floor, it's just more convenient to be on the first floor where the action is, in the kitchen. So Mark Cooper is executive chef at Cooper's Seafood House in Scranton, 701 North Washington Avenue. At the first half of the show, we talked about some whitefish and pots and pans that we should be using, or what you like to use, right? So, and I also mentioned some things that people are doing when they're updating their kitchen these days. And believe it or not, some of the trends for some kitchen updates, and this is according to House, open plan loses favor. I saw that coming.
I did too. I like to close the
By
doors on the kitchen.
43% in 2021. People are losing that open plan. And I think a lot of people found that out during the pandemic. Trying to do Zoom
Right,
calls.
Zoom calls in one room over there, and they're cooking and screaming in the other room.
And school and this, and they were buying dividers, but that doesn't do much to really deaden the sound, right? So they found that 1 in 5 sought a kitchen, though, that opens to an outdoor space. And that makes a lot of sense.
Well, then I can invite people over during the pandemic, and we can have outdoor dining, right? Is that what it's for the next pandemic? Oh, sorry. Okay.
All right, so let's finish the show talking about tuna, swordfish, those types of fish.
Raw fish?
Raw fish.
Raw fish.
I stay away from raw fish.
Well, raw,
you love it.
Raw
I
fish.
love it.
Now, and I do. I like it myself. I love raw tuna. The thing is, any of those fish, really to be safe, they should be frozen first. Good sashimi grade tuna or any fish should be frozen first. And it's just a preventative measure to prevent and God forbid there's any type of parasite in there that you're not going to get it. Is always a possibility. But if any good reputable seafood monger, if you will, would sell you tuna or any of those fish for eating raw, it should be frozen first.
Well, that goes. See, I would think the other way. When I go to Dunmore Seafood sometime up on Chestnut Street, and I look, and he's got a beautiful piece of tuna in the case. I would think, wow, I don't want one that was frozen.
Yeah,
but
well,
I do now. I do.
The same thing with me, and I've eaten lots of the fresh stuff raw too. It's just one of those things. I took a class up in Boston on how they served and how they prepared from Connolly Seafood actually, and how they prepared stuff and sent it out for their clientele. They market fish from all over the world there, so we had a good introduction to all this stuff. But it's just a tidbit on there. The heavier fish, the swordfish. I was talking to you before. Swordfish, we try to buy it from a U.S. fleet. If they were U.S. caught. The thing is, the U.S. fleet obeys the rules. We have the rules. You're only taking markers, which are bigger fish. They don't take the pups. Other countries do. You can buy this stuff a lot cheaper, but it's not. it's not really kosher, if you will. One point, the chefs were getting together, this was some years ago, and just taking swordfish off the menu. But unfortunately, if you did that, now we never did it because we only bought from our sustainable sources, our own fleet, from the U.S. fleet. The U.S. fleet obeys the rules. So if you got rid of the U.S. fleet, then you have no one left who's going to be obeying the rules. And the only swordfish on the market will then be swordfish from these other countries who don't obey the rules. So they are, you have to look into everything.
Right, unintended consequences.
Right, you really have no idea. Any of those big fish, though, they're usually the ones that live longer. They live down the bottom, swordfish, mako, and all that. The longer living fish are going to have more
chances for parasite?
Well, not so much chances for parasite, but you could possibly have more chances of having any residual chemicals or something in the fish, which is why they tell you not to eat. You're not getting a solid diet of it every single day. Not a good thing to do anything like that. But they're great fish. They're actually great tasting fish. Mako shark is probably one of the great ones.
I like that.
Mako's a great fish. Sharks in general, though, were over harvested, especially after the movie Jaws came out. They were trying to eradicate them. Everybody was fishing for sharks. They really overfished them. They are a natural check and balance in the ocean. They do take care of a lot of the bad stuff. There's a whole story I'd get into about seals and that, but with them, they're necessary. They're really necessary. Shark meat also. Before you eat shark meat, you should soak it in a little bit of acidulated water, a little bit of lemon water, salt water. It takes some of the strongness out of that fish, out of mako, out of shark meat, because shark meat passes urea through their flesh actually. So you want to soak that a little bit beforehand.
Okay, that's a good
little thing.
I don't think we ever purchased that to make.
No, I've never cooked that in the house. I haven't had mako or shark. I can tell you when it was the 1980s. I worked in an auto parts store, and it was a Korean guy next door, and he would get fresh mako and he'd cook it up. That was the last time I had it.
Oh, wow.
It was really good.
Too. Very
good. We'd drink the mako, and then we'd have, it was good.
Bluefish, another one, bluefish. A lot of people don't like bluefish.
I like bluefish.
It's a great fish. But the thing is, if you're cooking bluefish, you really need to deep skin it. Take that heavy meat, the heavy dark meat off the base of the skin, and the center is a really dark piece. You trim that out, and it takes all that heavy flesh, that heavy taste away from it. My favorite way to do bluefish is to put a little bit of soy, ginger, garlic, and white wine. Soak that for about 10 to 15 minutes, and take it off, pat it dry, and then I grill it. Grill it usually have to put a little bit of aluminum foil down on top of the grill so it doesn't stick and fall through the grates. But it's such a tremendous fish done that way. It's so good.
Well, now I'm hungry. We'll be going out to lunch. Mark Cooper, Executive Chef, Cooper Seafood House. We really appreciate your time 2 weeks in a row. Located at 701 North Washington Avenue. If you haven't been there, it is a delight and a treat for many. So much to do, walk around in its history.
We've got a museum there, pretty much.
Right.
A lot of
sights to see. Yes,
a lot of memorabilia from Scranton area.
So thank you for your time. We appreciate it. And the scam of the week this week, you got a call yesterday from
about
our electric.
Oh, the electric! Yes, I got a call yesterday saying, "You will have your electric turned off in 30 minutes. You have to call us." So it said hit 1. I says, okay. Since I don't have an electric bill in my name, I said, let's find out what this is all about. So I hit 1, and it rang, and it rang, and it rang, and it rang. And nobody ever answered, but the electric didn't go off. And I also got one about my computer. $299 was charged to my Microsoft account. And so I wanted to talk to him. And then because I just like to waste their time.
Of course.
And the guy he's, hello, my name is Bob. He was no more Bob than I'm Harry. You know what I'm saying? So I engaged him for a few minutes, and we ended up cursing at each other. So it was quite productive.
Did you feel good afterwards?
Yeah, I did.
All right.
You know what I said to him? I said, do you think I'm stupid? He goes, yes, I do.
Remember to tune in next Saturday at 11 a.m. and Sunday at 11:30 a.m. to the Real Estate Roundtable with Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate on 94.3 FM The Talker.